Hey guys, Scott Fishman here with a great guest coming into what I feel like is a new era for TNA wrestling coming up, starting this week in Orlando. Who better to talk about it than Mustafa Ali? How are you today?
Hey Scott, hey everybody. I'm the commander in chief of TNA Wrestling, so you should bring all of your concerns and questions right here.
Yes, and we're certainly excited about getting back to business when it comes to live Impact Wrestlings. I know a lot of fans have been waiting a couple weeks now. You've had this time to kind of reflect on what a special time that was at Bound for Glory. That intergender hardcore war, everybody was just, I think, putting on their efforts. I mean, you put it all on the line. All the members of each team put it all on the line. How do you kind of look back at that and that energy that was created?
Man, what a tricky match in the sense, it's intergender, there's all these weapons, time as far as excuse me, sorry about that. The emergency dial went off there. Just those matches can be chaotic and dangerous. And my biggest thing is we went out, we created a lot of moments of violence and craziness and concern, but everyone walked away generally okay. A couple scrapes, couple staples need to get removed, a couple thumbtacks need to get removed, but for the most part, everyone was okay, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, you look at that, especially with the spot with Agent Zero and Alicia Edwards, her getting choke bombed through thousands of thumbtacks, just a new level of respect for her, taking such because that Agent Zero guy, he's tall, ladies and gentlemen. That's not I don't know if I would want to take it. Let's just say that. So that was amazing on her front. But the big point being is a lot of people that was their first time being on Bound for Glory, and Bound for Glory is TNA's biggest event. So I was really, really happy that I was able to play an instrumental role in ensuring that those people were able to get on the that card. But yeah, what a it was a huge show, a marquee match. I feel like we delivered. So hats off to everyone involved.
And you mentioned, firsts, and this was the biggest crowd for TNA, breaking records here. You're used to working in front of big crowds, but this is kind of getting the sense that this young talent is seeing, the fruits of their labor, the motivation. You being a part of Order 4, really spotlighting young talent. I've always been a fan of Tasha Steeles, but I've loved seeing this evolution with her in this role, as well
Right.
as, the good hands being spotlighted. How is it? What does it mean for you, just like others have done for you, that you're able to provide this opportunity, this spotlight, this platform to show, what these athletes and these performers are capable of?
Right. I think if you're a performer that can make himself look good, that's one thing. If you're a performer that can not only elevate himself, but the people around him, the people across from him, anyone, and I'll go ahead and toot my own horn and say that like that is what I'm known for. I think that's what TNA appreciates about me is that yes, I'm being put in a position where I'm being featured, but it's not just me. I am bringing up. You mentioned the good hands, now known as the great hands, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler, like. I believe there's tag team championship in their future in 2026. Tasha Steeles was a former knockouts champion, and then she's kind of went into this like I don't want to say rut, but this moment of she's trying to find where she fits on the card. But now is the mastermind of Order for this strategic, like very evil, mastermind that's able to put these ideas and these plots together has given her a whole new dimension to work with, both in the ring and out the ring. And some of these promos that she's cut, post filming it, she'll get like a standing ovation just because of her delivery and how committed she is to the character. So that was my big thing with Order 4 is like I saw so much potential in every member, and now that I have a spotlight, if I need to take a step back and push them in the spotlight a little bit, I will do that. But the big thing is I'm in a position where I'm reaching down, pulling them up, but by pulling them up, they're then able to prop me up. So it's like it's a thing, man. It's a process, And I told all of them when I came back to TNA early of this year. I promised all of them. I said, "Hey, if we do this, give me 6 to 7 months, and we will be the top heel act here." And sure enough, here we are at the end of the year, and Order 4 reigns supreme.
Yeah, and I think comes down to presentation and, like you mentioned, the buy-in, the belief, the trust that you'll be able to, you know, deliver on what you're saying. I mean, you went all in with this persona we're seeing on TV, Commander in Chief. Talk about just what we're going to see as it evolves. What do you want to see from it as we move forward? It's such an interesting time in our world right now that
Yeah.
seeing this on television is a nice is an interesting, I should say,
Yeah. So
timing of
it's
everything.
interesting is the word to use. It's kind of the dilemma, and like I'm comfortable talking about this, but I'll let you guys make the decision if this is appropriate or not. At the end of the day, I am who I am. My name is Mustafa Ali. I'm very clearly from a certain region of the world, and my belief is very open. So with that and with this character, I have found that it is tricky sometimes what I want to say and how I want to say it or how I want to be perceived can be misconstrued, can be misquoted, and can be misinterpreted. And at the end of the day, we are entertainment. Our job is to entertain the fans. I would never want someone from anywhere in the world to tune in and feel offended or feel like I've been, isolating them in a negative manner. This character, this presidential politician, almost dictator-esque character, it's strictly within the confines of pro wrestling. There's no subliminal messaging. There's no, I'm really talking about this. I'm talking about championships and contenders and, and that's it, But at the end of the day, I have found that I need to sometimes be cautious of real life events and how they could be misinterpreted into wrestling. So this character is a little difficult to navigate. I am very open about what I think is right and wrong, and I've always been about treating people right. And that's a conversation for another time. But the point being, this character, I do have to sometimes double check what I'm saying and how I'm saying it or how it looks, because unfortunately we live in a world now where a fan will grab a quote or a screenshot or something and say he was saying this, and that's not what I was saying at all, within the context of the promo. So it is fairly difficult, I feel like anywhere you look in the world right now, there's trouble, So how do you not try to mirror that, whether it's intentional or not intentional? But at the end of the day, my goal is to put on the best product, the best performance. So, my goal isn't to, offend anybody with what I'm saying. So I am fairly cautious, and that's always something that's on the back of my mind when performing.
Got it. Yeah, it's definitely a slippery slope. Talk a little bit about, we have this big tapings coming up, Final Resolution also returning to Full Sail, a place that you know very well from your history with WWE. You also worked there in WWE in Orlando not too long ago, so it's almost like coming full circle. So talk a little bit about what it's like that energy and that venue and what kind of memories that brings back for you.
Yeah, so Full Sail was my big break because that's where the Cruiserweight Classic happened. And originally I wasn't in that tournament, but someone had backed out, and Lindsay Dorado, who is my opponent, he highly recommended me to the producers. And that's how I got my big breakout match. So going back to Full Sail would be great. And then yeah, I went back to Full Sail a few times for, random NXT tapings before getting signed with WWE. So going back to Full Sail is going to be a huge I don't know how to feel, I'm a very like live in the moment type of, even when I went back to the PC for the NXT versus TNA showdown. I didn't know what to expect or how to feel, but it's just so weird, man. You see old faces. I saw Sean, I saw some people from the medical office that I knew forever, the receptionist that I've known forever, security. Like there's just these people that, I haven't seen in like 2 years. But I'm just picking up a conversation like it was 2 years ago. So it was very, very nice. Obviously, a lot of pressure with that performance, but walking in, it was just nice to kind of, just to see old faces, But yeah, I think I'm at that stage in my career, man, where I don't really get spooked or intimidated or, I still care. Don't get me wrong. I still get those nerves of wanting to perform good, right? Like I never had that moment where I don't care. I very, very much care. But I'm kind of past like the whole like my God, this venue's so big. I'm so intimidated. No, that's not me at this point. But it was really great, and specifically really just great to see Sean again and talk to him, and have conversations with him over the span of 2 weeks. Because I was there the week before to set up the match and then the match itself. And the big thing was is everyone was just so happy with that performance with me versus All Ego. They were just so happy with it. It was a huge home run. And it was a bit of chip on my shoulder. I just wanted to remind everybody what they missed out on.
That's always a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Also from there, you have El Paso. They just announced, I don't know if you saw, but they're going to be doing an Eddie Guerrero Day on November the 18th. So it's such a great wrestling town. The last time you guys were there, there's such energy. I mean, how is it for you to
Yeah,
kind of see the energy? I think one thing that was missing for a lot of times with TNA is they would be in these studios and they'd be putting on this great product, but the energy wasn't there. And that's such a big deal when
right.
you're doing a television presentation. Now we're kind of seeing that and it reflects
Yeah,
really well. And how is it for you to kind of see TNA going to these, these cities and seeing the response that you're getting, especially like in
yeah.
El Paso?
I again, it's the responsibility of the performers always to create that energy, but sometimes it's just so hard. It's so daunting, and sometimes it's damn near impossible, right? I've seen some amazing matches, like just mind-blowing stuff, and like the audience just wasn't there for it. And it's not to blame them, it's just they weren't there. But I've seen some like pretty horrible matches too, but the audience is going nuts, and it's like it becomes epic all of a sudden.
Right.
So yeah, the I would say the audience is probably the most important aspect of what we come. So you mentioned last time we're in El Paso, the energy in that crowd was insane. I was wrestling, well, now TNA World Champion Mike Santana. I was wrestling him in El Paso, and I didn't know that, I'm in the ring. Nobody told me that he was coming out on a lowrider. So his music hits, and I'm looking around for him, seeing where he's at. And then all of a sudden, I see this garage door lift up, and I see this lower. I go, "You gotta be, are you?" And he comes out in the Eddie shirt, and the crowd obviously goes nuts. Not just because it's Santana, but because he's paying tribute to one of the greatest of all time, right? So he comes out, and then I just kind of knew. I'm like, "Oh man, I can feel this crowd, like they're." And I want to say, crowd wise and in ring wise, it's probably one of the best matches TNA put on this year. Go back and check it out. I think the pay-per-view was called Sacrifice. It was me and Mike Santana, and like you could feel the energy in the crowd. At one point in that match, my jaw literally dislocated this way, and I had to put my hand in my mouth and bring it back in. Like
Oof.
that's how intense and physical the match was. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to heading back to El Paso with TNA. I hope they bring that energy and that noise they did last time. I hope I don't get my jaw dislocated this time though. I can do without that. But other than that, yeah, let's go, man. El Paso is one of those great towns, great wrestling town.
And now he's the champ, so maybe we'll revisit this match that you guys had.
Let's
We'll see, but not right now.
let's give it a little bit of time right now. My jaw is just started feeling a little better.
Um, one thing I also respect about you is, you always want to give back and you're always putting the effort in, like we mentioned, the Order 4, but you also have the Chicago Wrestling Center that, you're putting a lot of time in. It's so important for talent to learn the right way if they have the dreams. And you're always talking about if you have the dream, then put in the effort for it. So what about this school and what you've gotten out of it as well from seeing it grow and evolve?
Man, training is so hard. It is so if you do it the right way. And this isn't to knock on anybody, but there's plenty of schools that'll just take your money and just tell you, yeah, kind of like I am such a perfectionist that if you're not rolling correctly, if you're not hitting the ropes correctly and safely, if you're not performing the move correctly and safe, like I'm gonna tell you. And I'm just so passionate about it that sometimes that passion comes across as very aggressive and intimidating. So I get it. Yeah, training with me is no joke. It is intense. We've had a lot of people show up and that a lot of people not show up. It is, but for me, if you're paying this money, if you're stepping into the ring, I'm going to give you the absolute best. I'm going to give you what I wish I had. Because again, the one thing with me is I feel like I wasted so much time. And again, this is going to come across as a knock on people. It's not. It's just the reality of life. If you hang around with people that are, complacent and, soft and like everyone's just here to have a good time, then you're always going to be in that group. But if you hang with the big dogs, the guys that don't make mistakes, the guys that look a certain way, the guys that train a certain way, the guys that expect this, you just naturally progress to their level. So I've wasted so much time in my career, especially in the initial stages, of just being around like guys that weren't better than me, and I was very, and then the minute I found guys that were better than me that would push me and challenge me and get me out of my comfort zone, your initial reaction is to get away from that because it's not comfortable. And I just wait. And once I embrace like, no, I want to just be good. I want to be one of the best. Well, then you got to roll with the best. So that's why the Chicago Wrestling Center is in such a unique aspect where, like, if you're at that stage of your career where you know that you've kind of hit this wall and you don't know what you come down, and I've have students, and I won't spill the beans now, but some people have been training with me a few months and they have huge opportunities coming up. They're gonna nail it. I know they're ready. I know they're gonna nail it. And I'm not taking credit for it. I'm giving them the credit because they took the step to come to school and put in the work and put in the hours. It is brutal. It is intense. Um, I myself get fatigued from it. That I'm training you and I'm fatigued from it. So imagine what you're going through.
Mhm.
But it's everything I say it to be. It is the place if you want to become the best professional wrestler. It's the place.
Lastly, and I'll let you go is we're going into the end of the year, going into another year for TNA and yourself. What do you want to see from the company? There's a lot of talk about a television deal and big things coming up. This partnership with WWE, we don't know where that's going to lead. It's been fruitful so far. What do you want to, from your standpoint and being in this business for as long, what does TNA need to do next to get on another level that they have right now and build on momentum?
I mean, that's such a great question. One, I'm in the same position as you where I really don't know what's going to happen. I've heard all the rumors that everybody else has about this, about them going live weekly, about a network deal. I'm going to show up to work and see what I'm asked to do, and then I'm going to go do it. What I would like to see from TNA is, and this is just my little controversial take. I think TNA needs to remember that they're in a position where they can be different. They don't have to follow the formula. I think one of the really, really cool things about TNA was the six lettering, was the X division, was these really what I'm trying to say is like I want TNA to go back to like that experimental phase where we're just trying these wacky ideas and whatnot. Um, but at the end of the day, you can't argue with the business model, what's going on right now, sold out shows, and potential network deals and like that. Um, I also remember there was a time when TNA where I'd look out and I'd see maybe a couple hundred people. At Bound for Glory, I looked out and I saw a couple thousands. Like it's a beautiful thing. But whatever TNA is doing is, I think they're doing it right. They got their eye on young talent. There's a lot of people that have tryouts coming up, and it's a great mixture of these talented veterans, and then there's the middle childs that are like they're just trying to figure out their journey, and then there's these brand new people coming in. So it's a beautiful locker room, great team to work with. Production just seems to get better and better and better with each show. There's a lot of experimentation that's going on. I think at Bound for Glory we had our first 4K camera for the entrance, and so there were some unbelievable shots of people coming out. So it's just, yeah, I'm just really, really excited. But if you ask me just selfishly, I would just love us to experiment more with wild concept matches and never, because we're in that position where I think we can do it, and that's
Hmm.
what would maybe attract, even more wrestling fans to our product.
Yeah, for sure. I love the idea of that maybe we'll get Wrestler's House back. Who knows?
Yeah.
Take everyone check out TNA Wrestling Orlando, November 13th through 15th. Energy is always great there. I know we talked about El Paso. That's December 5th through 7th. It's going to be some great shows. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Congrats on all the
Appreciate you,
success.
Scott.
All right.
Thank you, my man.